The University of Texas Law School did a report that found that at least 19 deaths within their justice system, within their prisons, can be linked to extreme heat. Now, a number of the prisons in Texas have absolutely no air conditioning, which is quite a problem, especially when you consider that temperatures can go as high as 110 degrees. So to know that 19 people have died just because you don't have air conditioning is a big problem, and it does fall under cruel and unusual punishment. But lawmakers in Texas refuse to budge. They don't see this as a big deal. In fact, one lawmaker says, "I can tell you the people of Texas don't want air-conditioned prisons, and there's a lot of other things on my list above the heat." So people are dying within the prison system, but John Whitmire doesn't really give a shit about that. And also, it's hot in Texas, and a lot of Texans who are not in prison don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, but they're not stuck in a little cell where they can't leave, and then you leave them cooped up in there until they die. So like they can walk out, maybe they go to the local library where there is air conditioning, you know. So I think the situation is a little different. Now, it's easy for people to say, oh, tough on crime and stuff. And like, for example, we've discussed this many times on the show, I think the Europeans are a little too soft on crime, right? Now, on the other hand, we've become unbearable, right, here in the U.S., and we've way overdone it. In this case, not every one of these guys is a murderer or anything like that, and they certainly weren't sentenced to death.
By the way, even if you do get locked away for murder, that still doesn't justify putting someone in a cell and leaving them in the heat like that. It's against our laws. It's against cruel, it goes under cruel and unusual punishment. It's against what we believe, so we can't do it. And also, you know, going back to what you said about the justice system in Norway and what we're doing here in the United States, what we do here does not work. It just doesn't work, right? Treating people like they're animals does not rehabilitate them. If you genuinely care about rehabilitating people, you don't put them in solitary confinement for any little mistake they make when they're behind bars. You don't put them in unair-conditioned cells where they're going to possibly die. You don't feed them crap. You have to do something to actually rehabilitate them. We don't do that.
So this would be cruel and unusual punishment even if they were on death row. Like if you said to a Supreme Court justice, hey, you know, we'd like to put a guy in a cell that's so hot that he eventually dies from the heat. They'd say, no way you're allowed to kill someone like that. It's not even close. We're having an argument over what chemicals to put in the cocktail that goes in to kill the guy by injection, right? They're not going to let anybody do that. And almost none of these guys are on death row. They might have been in there for robbery or pot or whatever it might be. You're not allowed to execute them by, you know, stuffing them in a prison cell with no air conditioning until they die from the heat. 19 deaths, that's unacceptable. So if you think you're like, oh yeah, tough guy, haha. No, that's bullshit, man. This isn't being tough, this is being barbaric. I mean, this sounds like something a third world country would do, and we would condemn them and say, oh my God, look at that, they got no human rights at all. No, air conditioning is not supposed to be a luxury, right? It's not like I want them to like stay on lovely little couches and make sure that they get Game of Thrones and get the latest Xbox. No, I just don't want them to die in 120-degree heat that they can't escape from, or however hot it gets in those prisons. It's pretty freaking hot if you died from it.